Hello, welcome to season 2, episode 2. We've had a lot go on the last 2 weeks? 2 weeks since we last did our episode. We obviously are missing a big part of the four. Well,
Mr. Moron Koresh.
but we did get something to represent him, I guess. I don't really know why we put this out because Tottenham were shit, but here we are.
We brought it in the hope that he was going to wear it if he was to be here. Obviously, he's not here today, but if they were to have got beat, he would have wore it next week. But unfortunately, just for the purpose of today, we're going to get rid of this.
Tottenham's such a dead club. They are a placeholder team. Like, pointless of them existing.
Actually, well, they're like one of those high achieve. Well, I know you're gonna hate me saying this because you're saying they don't achieve anything, but they're one of those teams who are always up near the top. Either top. Are
you gonna say they're a high achieving team?
High achieving in terms of the fact that they're always up and around like top 4, maybe sometimes slip into Europa League, but they just never do anything.
High achieving.
Is this Tottenham or Arsenal?
High achieving.
You know what I mean.
You have lost your whole soul.
You know what I mean.
I don't know what you mean. I actually have no idea.
They're always up and around the top of the league.
Up and around what?
The top of the league.
Well, they're always in the top 4, top 6. They're
just bringing it down now. That's gonna be. They're always in the top 20.
They're always in the Prem. Like, great.
Nah,
high achievements.
You know what I mean? They rarely finish, outside the top 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, anyway. So yeah, Tottenham lost. What did we think of the performance from Tottenham today?
I thought there was fairly encouraging in glimpses, but it was just that final third. It looked like Arsenal were first to every ball defensively, and they didn't really show signs that they was going to have a chance that was going to definitely lead to a goal. But it just goes to show in them North London derbies of recent times, Arsenal seem to always get the job done at least.
Well, they've won the last 3. This would be the third one. I think this is the first time they've won 3 in a row.
Yeah, I think that's away. Is that away?
I think that's no.
Well,
the
I
first
know
time
that
they've won
the last two seasons, Tottenham haven't got anything from Arsenal.
Yeah, but I think this is the first time Arsenal have won 3.
No, because they drew, didn't they? Because they drew last season 2-2. It was. So they got something out of that game.
Or maybe it's 3 at Tottenham's ground. I'm not sure. Oh well, I don't know. Maybe I'm talking shit. Ignore me. Anyway, I don't know. Tottenham's performance, see for the first 20 minutes, seemed like they were going to cause severe problems to Arsenal. But then, once it got to a certain stage, you just kind of felt Tottenham aren't going to do shit here. It seems like classic Tottenham to play pretty well for a while, but if nothing comes of it within the first kind of 20, 30 minutes, if they don't see a result from it, they're going to fall apart at some point. It's just a more of a question of when. And it happened again. And
then as soon as Gabriel scored, it was like,
that's it.
Realistically, is there a chance for Tottenham?
That's it.
Is there anything there for them to even go and get an equaliser as soon as they can? But it was just, even though they had more chances, I believe, in the second half, they didn't really look like they was going to do anything.
Sky Sports strike again, man. Gabriel Jesus.
Do you know what?
Match on the back of that performance from Gabriel.
But I'll say this though, one thing that needs to be pointed at, and everyone really praises him, but no one really criticizes him. Son has not been great this season. He's captain. He's been decided. They've given him the captaincy. I know he's given last season when Ange took over, but hasn't done much this season. Even last season when he was scoring it, he had a good season, but not great. But one of the things I don't like is he's quite passive in these moments. When you feel like your team's up against it, doesn't talk to his players, isn't really vocal. For a team to go up to that next stage, it's not just about buying the right players, but it's also putting the right people in leadership. And Son, I just feel like doesn't do anything. Wasn't great today. Hasn't been great this season, really. And I'm like, maybe it's time to reevaluate for Tottenham. Who should be captain?
Well, who would you look at in that game and say was a standout performer?
No one, but...
So, I feel like he's... Yeah, okay, fair enough. He hasn't done that well in the 5 games it's been this season.
Yeah.
But overall, I think Son's contribution to Tottenham has been very good. And, if we were to compare him to his counterpart in Saka did even worse. I don't think Saka was involved in... Saka was non-existent in that game.
What did Son do?
But he was involved in attacks. He was part of the build-up play that a lot of came good from Tottenham. Him and Maddison. Well, Maddison wasn't that great either, but still.
Yeah, that Brennan Johnson though. 50
Yeah, he's
million,
miles off it.
50
I know
million down the drain.
I know we've had our pants pulled down, but that's got to be up there with some of the ones we've had.
50 M's
Yeah.
in the English Premier League, though, isn't a 50 M player. And what I mean by that is, like, for an English Premier League team to go spend 50 M's is the equivalent of every other team spending 30. Do you know what I mean? Like, that is it. If Man U couldn't go buy a player for 30 million, and if you are, it's a 17-year-old that is unproven.
Thing is as well with the English players that do get bought, like you look at Solanke, and there was a big question in terms of the summer of, is that transfer fee worth it? Is it on the back of him having an unreal season, or is there always been potential there with Solanke? He's just never fulfilled it. Obviously, other than the season that he had last season when he broke, I think it was like high teen figures for like goals, like 18, 19.
Yeah.
Do you see it as that's the man that will be the the goal scorer for Spurs, or do you think it's a matter of they've just tried to gamble on the fact he's had a really good season and they've lost Kane, they've lost all these goals? What do you think about the whole Solanke situation?
I think it is a bit of a gamble, but I feel like that's how the transfer market is nowadays. It's like players, as soon as they have one good season, they could have been very mediocre for, like, let's say 4 or 5. They have one good season, like their transfer price skyrockets, and you have to take a gamble, because if you don't in this transfer market, you might miss out on something good. However, he's going to be in a team that is going to provide him more chances, because they're a better team than Bournemouth.
How is it a gamble?
What do you mean?
Well, he's doing it, or did it, in the Prem.
Yeah, but he's
For
done
a
it.
lesser team.
Yeah, but he's done it for one season. Not anyone, but it's more. Players could have a one-off really good season and then just go back to their normal standards.
But surely to go find a foreign player who hadn't played in the Prem at all, even if they'd had 3 good seasons, would be more of a gamble than a player who has done well in the Prem.
Not necessarily. Like, if, let's say, for instance, you get someone like, okay, let's say Solanke, right? He's done it for once. I'm gonna go Solanke.
Let's pick a random player.
Yeah, let's go back to
we're
Solanke.
discussing.
I know it's gonna be ridiculous to say, but let's say, for instance, you get Solanke. He's done it in the Prem, 18 goals.
Yeah.
But then, let's say, turn it back. Let's say you've got Robert Lewandowski, who's never played in the Premier League.
Yeah, but Lewandowski didn't do well. He was outstanding in the leagues he was in. That's not a clear comparison. Also, you have no idea that he will then do well in the English Premier League.
You have no idea Solanke's going to do well in Tottenham.
We've seen, yeah, I know, but it's a higher likelihood on the basis he's already playing in that league. He's already performing. Look at Soldado, used to do great in Spain, came across to England, disaster. Jesus Navas, great in Spain, came across to Man City. Wasn't a disaster, but wasn't great by any means. But then you've got a player who is playing in England, has done well. Surely that's less of a gamble.
Recent transfers have kind of proved otherwise, because you've had players who've moved from one Premier League team to another Premier League team that haven't done well. Case in point, Raheem Sterling, or I feel like one of the players that you've kind of discussed was Jesus. Did pretty good at Man City. Hasn't lived up to his potential at Arsenal.
What team has Raheem Sterling done particularly poor?
No, particularly well. Well, Chelsea, he wasn't great.
He wasn't bad.
Yes, he was.
He wasn't terrible.
Yes, he was.
No, he wasn't.
It was only towards the end he started to get bad.
Even his first season, compared to you got to compare him to what he was achieving at Man City.
But then you're not comparing Chelsea to Man City.
I'm not comparing Chelsea to Man City.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, the squad he was in, like, you could be a good player, and if you're surrounded by great players, you play better.
I'm sorry, but if he was doing well, I don't think he did well in any of the seasons that he.
I'm not saying he was outstanding by any means, or any stretch of the imagination. But I think to say he was really bad,
he was bad.
It's a bit harsh.
I need to get up his statistics, but he wasn't great for Chelsea. None of the Chelsea boys were good, apart from like maybe Cole Palmer and a few others.
Even in the case of Raheem Sterling, while it's up to debate on how bad he was at Chelsea, I agree he wasn't at the standard he was Man City and Liverpool, but he still did well at Man City and Liverpool, and I suspect he will do well at Arsenal.
Oh, well, the jury's out on that. You don't know. We'll see when he plays for Arsenal. But he's not the only player that's like gone, made a move, and it hasn't worked out, even if they've done well within another Premier League team. Lukaku, for instance, didn't work out for him at Chelsea. Did pretty well with us, also did well with West Brom.
Wait,
You know-
so Raheem Sterling didn't do well with Chelsea, but Lukaku did well with you.
He did pretty good, yeah.
He did fucking terrible.
What?
He wasn't that great with you at all. You're telling me when you think of Lukaku in that Man U team, you sit here and go, God, I wish we had him back.
He was a decent player.
It's not.
Would you want him back?
It's not a matter of wishing you want him back, but I think the.
Well, they
I
couldn't
think,
have been
I
that
think,
good then if
I
you
think
didn't want him back, if you never want him back.
I think the stat padding is probably something that makes you look at the situation and go, like, I think he averaged at United. It was like a goal every like 2-3 games, but like I wouldn't be in a rush to get him back. I feel like he had good moments,
So
but
how good a player could
I
he
would
be
say
if you don't want him back?
I would say he had a better United career than he did a Chelsea career.
Exactly.
That's because his Chelsea career was horrific.
Yeah, but like that's what you just said. You said you wanted me to compare the moments that he had in the Premier League era, and I would say that the United one was better than the Chelsea one. But to obviously go back without wasting too much time, I wouldn't be in a rush to get him back. But obviously without kind of going too far into this kind of topic, what do you think about the Liverpool situation? You know, they just absolutely battered us 3-0. And then obviously they play Forest at home, large expectation to go and win. Arne Slot's been, you know, hyped as this manager that's got this new kind of system of play that he's brought into Liverpool, and then they go get beat 1-0.
Like, Man U aren't really a game to judge performances on. I
Yeah,
think
yes,
you're all over the place.
Yes,
and you're not really a benchmark for anyone at this point, if we're honest.
Anyone, even like Ipswich and teams
Honestly,
like that.
I think you're 3 points waiting to happen for anyone. But the
Is that Bance? Anyone? I understand if you say top 6. Well, but you think
brother,
you're looking at us.
brother, you weren't
You
even
think
top,
you're looking
you
at
weren't
us
even
like,
top
yeah,
7 last season.
At least we get something out of Liverpool more often than you do out of Celtic.
Yeah. What about that?
Yeah, true. I don't really know why that's relevant to how shit you are.
Because you're saying it as if your team's on a pedestal where you're doing a lot better than what we are.
We're not talking about my team. Like,
No.
I know my team's not in a good place, right? I'm aware of that. Now,
Horrible.
It's not horrible.
Terrible.
Let's calm down,
Okay.
right?
Aberdeen have won 5 out of
let's
5.
Yeah, they've not played an old firm team yet.
Yeah, that's not their fault. They can only win who they're playing against. And you've
So,
not won all your
hold
games.
on. You'll sit and say that Scottish football out with the old firm is all part-timers. Then Aberdeen win 5 out of 5 and you're going, oh yeah, I know, but they can only play what's in
Yeah, but you drew
Yeah.
against one of these part-time teams. Who did you draw against? Because it's not
we
just
drew
Celtic.
against Hearts. What do you mean?
Tell you what.
I would say they're
Write your
the
season
4th
off.
best team in Scotland.
Write your season off. It's done. Yeah,
That is a nonsense.
done.
Nonsense.
Anyway, you've
Big
not answered
Phil
my
gets
question
the
about
whole this
Liverpool.
Do you know what? I would probably say I wouldn't be if I was a Liverpool fan. I'd look at that game. I'd be there like, that was a fluke.
It's the bad day at the office.
Bad day at the office. Liverpool with a better team.
Does it hurt their top 4 chances?
No, not the top 4.
I
Definitely
mean,
not.
you had them win the league, but without being top 4.
Yeah, I know. Liverpool looking to do miracles at Anfield.
The people come for you for that comment.
I know.
Some real mixed emotion you're giving out there, man. A lot of belief and a lack of belief at the same time.
Anyway, I misspoke on that. Yeah, okay. Liverpool are going to be top 4.
I'm actually interested.
You're going to get top 4, but not top 6.
No, but who would you take out of the top 4 to put Liverpool into it?
Aston Villa.
Did you put them in it?
I think so.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Yeah,
Because you went Brighton.
So you're going Man City, no, Liverpool, because you said they'd win the league. Man City, Arsenal, Man United.
Come on. That is my top 4. But yeah, I would say this is like, I would have panicked if I was Liverpool if it was a terrible performance. It wasn't. They played well. They had the better chances. It's just that Nottingham also played particularly well. I really like the way that they were pressing Forest. And you know, it was like one of those wonder strikes by Hudson-Odoi. It's like, it wasn't like they were splitting Liverpool open like consistently. So I'll just look at that. I'll be there like, bad day at the office, reset.
So
before this, I don't think before this had Liverpool even conceded.
Then that's their first goal.
what is
One goal conceded in 4 games. Nah,
get
there's
that,
no
but
panic station.
What is the aim for Liverpool this season?
I think it's winning some type of trophy
Right.
and they're securing top 4.
securing top four.
Yeah.
Does this hinder their top four? Because Man City's, your Arsenal's, you have to assume they're not going to drop points in this game.
But everyone else has dropped points around them.
But Arsenal could easily go and drop
technically
points
you
away at
don't.
the Etihad. And then Liverpool, I think Liverpool's next three
Yeah,
are
but
like...
are Liverpool going
fairly-
to pick points up? It's like we could say that Arsenal drop points in these games, but Liverpool have to pick up points in those games.
Yeah, I get that, but I
And
think
they've just dropped points in probably one of their easiest games.
I think
at home.
Liverpool's next three are against I think it's Wolves and Bournemouth and I think somebody else of that calibre. And obviously Arsenal go away to the Etihad. There's a high probability that Arsenal don't go there and win. So obviously if they draw, they only get 1 point. And then obviously if Liverpool win, there's obviously 2 more gained.
Seems a bit unfair to say there's a high probability.
It is though, right?
I'd say
When
it's
have Arsenal
slightly
ever won at the
favourites that
Etihad?
Man City would win, but look at last season.
Nah, they're not
City,
slight.
Man City got 1 point out of 6.
And still win the league.
What? 1 point out of 6.
Yeah.
Oh, against Arsenal.
Yeah. So I think that's a bit harsh to sit and say that Arsenal have very slim chance of getting a result
They
there.
went there last season and absolutely shit themselves
Did they shit themselves? They got the result they needed.
and didn't win the league.
Arsenal just had to not lose.
And then, but the thing is with Arsenal,
Now, Arsenal, yeah, fair enough. Arsenal lost to Aston Villa, but to sit there and say they shit themselves against Man City, they needed to go to the Etihad and get a result of some kind.
yeah, but if they win
which
that,
they got.
if they won that game, they would have won the league.
No, they.
No.
Wait.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, they would have. Yeah,
they would've.
Yeah, I get that, but that's also saying if they didn't lose to Aston Villa, they would have won the league.
No, I get that, but obviously on this current conversation, we're talking about the game next weekend, Arsenal going away to the Etihad, which I think,
So I still think Man City are favourites. Don't get me wrong.
not slight though, I think they are massive favourites. They're at home. When did they ever get beat off a big boy at home? They do get beat from time to time, but like in terms of like consistency, how many times can you say that you've seen them get beat at home?
Tell you what, was it 3 seasons ago? Battered him home and away.
3 seasons ago, brother.
Scott McToms.
What is that when you finished third?
I think we finished second. No, 3 seasons ago. Where did
You've
we
not
finish?
finished second the last
Was it
3
4
years.
seasons? No. What?
You finished third.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, how far in the past do you want to keep going, man?
Honestly, big man's going back to sort of like Ferguson.
Yeah, back in 2013.
We did something.
In terms of going back into the past, one thing we've not said for a while is we're looking forward to the Champions League because we're not fucking in it. So the Champions League starts again this week. Well, next week, sorry. So
None of our teams are in it. We're talking about the Champions League, and not one of our teams is in it.
Well,
I mean, even if
E-Ray.
even
Yeah,
if you
but he's
even
not
if,
here.
even if you was in it anyway, you'd be at the bottom of that league phase.
Yeah, probably.
But you'd be coming to what?
I'm not even going to take that as an insult. Like, if Celtic are getting battered, we're fucked.
You'd be coming to our place in January anyway. In
You
the league phase.
Listen, I told you we're talking about serious games. Honestly, just give us the dub now, man. Why even bother?
What happened in Murrayfield?
What, a friendly game? A little warm-up, yeah? We didn't even have half our transfers in yet.
Oh Jesus Christ!
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
What do you guys think of the new format? Are you on side with it? Do you think it's absolutely ludicrous and they should have kept it how it was? What's your thoughts on the way they've like structured it? And is there anything you feel like is a massive con of the whole tournament in terms of moving forwards?
A massive con.
As in like something you're massively against, like, oh my God, I don't see how that can work long term. Or like, for example, you don't play everyone home and away. So you could get drawn to play Man City away instead of having the opportunity to play them home and away.
No, I think from a football fan and for your smaller teams, it's better. I think we're getting better games faster. Do you know what I mean? You know, how often would you see like a minnow like Man U play like a massive team like Rangers? Like, not very often, although that's in the Europa League. You know, the main competition of Europe. But I think in terms of actual football teams and players, it does not benefit them at all. Extra games, like even if you do reasonably well, I think financially for smaller teams, it's better. They're going to play more games, which is good. Your bigger teams, it's not ideal because you already got a packed one. Like if you're Man City, you should really be competing in all 4 competitions. Whether you win all 4, because that is an achievement that even Pep's not managed yet, but that would be a challenge. But you're expected to do quite well. You know, get to semis, get to finals, stuff like that. So to then have an extra 2 to maybe 4 games added on to that is a lot.
Yeah.
So I think
Before we go further, I think it'll probably be good to explain what the format is, just for some of the audience who might not know. So Craig, explain what the new format is.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Basically, what's going to happen is rather than the group stages, and it kind of defeats the point in pots a little bit, we'll go from that in a second. But basically, instead of the group stage, it's going to be one giant league format, and then teams will play random teams once. So only play a team once. So if you get Tottenham, you won't play them again away. You'll just play them once. Now those are done based on pots. So pot 1, you'll play another team from pot 1, pot 2, so on and so forth. So it kind of defeats the point, because when you were pot 1 in the league phase, at the group stages, you avoided other pot 1s.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't do that anymore. You still have to play 2 of them. So it's kind of like, what's the point? It's good for us because we see like a Man City, Real Madrid at like the very start.
Yeah.
But it's not so good in terms of what's the point in the pots.
So, like, you know, like when teams like Sevilla used to exit the Champions League and everyone used to banter saying, well, they're just going to go win the Europa League. Is there no drop downs now? So you can't go Champions League to Europa, Europa to Conference?
No, basically the first 8 teams in the league, which will be like your PSGs, your Real Madrids, your Bayern Munichs, they'll go straight through to the last 16. Your next 16 teams will go into a playoff where they'll play against each other to go into the last 16. So it's almost like the Champions League has a round of 32, except for it's not 32. And then your bottom 8 just go out. It's done.
Okay.
What's for the 16 teams that go to the playoffs? Is it 2 legs?
Yeah. So it's same. It's basically like a round of 16 before the round of 16.
Okay.
And then the 8 teams that win that obviously go to the last 16. Yeah. So you get a chance to go into the qualifiers. Like, so looking at that format, I would be more confident. Like, I'm confident we'll qualify for at least the playoff round of the Europa League. Because you have to be in.
So do you think it changes much in the sense of, like, for example, in the old format, if Man City get Lille, Slavia Prague and some random team in Germany, for example, normally you're like, yeah, City have easily won that. Do you think it decreases their chances of kind of having it as easy as they have done in previous times, or?
No, I think my issue is 75% of the teams that are in the Champions League, Europa League, Conference League will qualify. Because you think about it, top 8 go straight to the last 16. The next 16 go into the playoffs, and only 8 teams go out. So just by taking part, you've got a 3/4 of a chance of qualifying. Like that.
Qualifying to the round of 32.
Basically the version of that. It's the qualifier, knockout qualifier round. But
So realistically,
75% will go through.
So realistically, you could finish 9th and still go on to win the whole tournament.
Yeah, you could finish 21st and still go on to win the whole tournament. Like, it's a bit of a madness when you think 75% of the teams taking part will go through.
Yeah, that's
like
crazy.
What?
I think from that standpoint, it's actually not pretty exciting, because if you think about, like, let's say, you know, one of the we love it in football when like the underdog wins, like, you know, when Greece won in 2004.
Oh, that FC Sheriff.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they beat me out.
So
still talk about it.
Yeah, so can you imagine if, like, for instance, by some miracle, because of this like whole format, like a team like, I don't know, Celtic were to win the Champions League? It'll be incredible, because it's like, well,
no, I don't think it would be. I'm going to be honest. That would be incredible. That would be the worst day of my life.
Even though I'm not sure if this new format will kind of help it in a way. It could help it in a way, because, you know, you can kind of hang in for longer. I'll say as like sort of someone who's not going to be in the Champions League this year, but, you know, we're going to be in the Europa League, which is a similar format.
So it's the same format.
Exactly, yeah. So I don't know why I said similar. I'm not too excited about this new format. Only reason being is there's already so much football. It's like, I don't want it to get to a stage where, because of how much football is being played, the quality is going to start to drop, because, you know, more players are going to get injured. Players are tired, so they can't perform to their maximum ability. It's like, soon enough, if we keep adding games, and, you know, football's a business. They've changed this format so they can play more games, so that they can get more money from advertisers and ticket sales. They're just going to keep adding games. I think it's going to get to a point where players are just going to be at such a detriment that that's going to decrease the quality of football you're seeing, and I don't want that.
Would you say this new format favours the bigger teams to be more successful?
It depends, because you know what? Like, I'll say, for instance, like our team, right?
I don't know. You're looking at me and saying our team. I don't know who you're referring to.
Sorry, our team, I should say. Yeah,
Don't look at me and say that. All right? Have some respect.
Yeah, but like, let's say for like Man United, right? We haven't got a deep squad. Like in certain key areas, if we get a player injured, like for instance, if we get like
You do have a deep squad. They're just shite.
no,
If we have a fullback injured, for example.
yeah, done. But if you're like a Chelsea or a Man City or even an Arsenal now who are getting deeper squads,
Chelsea are preparing to win the Champions League.
exactly.
All makes sense, even though they're in the Conference League and add to a qualifier.
But these teams, you've got deep squads where it's like they've got a comparable sort of player in their position, even if someone gets injured or they're tired. It benefits those teams. But we're a big team, which, you know, if we have our starting 11 and make touch wood,
8th place is a big team.
Touch wood, Castify won to win the FA Cup as a big team. All right, 2 trophies in 2 years, 3rd one pending. But yeah, if it's like a team like ours where we haven't got the squad depth yet, it's not really much of a big advantage.
What would be the 3rd one? We'll come back to that in a second. You said 3rd one pending. What is the 3rd one?
The Europa League, baby.
Oh God. Okay. Anyway, yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
What do you think, Josh? Do you feel like is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Do you feel like it hinders things? Do you think it's going to make it more exciting?
I think with something new, I think the good and bad's always difficult until you've seen it. Like, I feel like it's hard to comment until we've seen it actually in fruition and actually happening. But I'm just starting to wonder and think if, for example, Manchester City playing against some of the lesser teams in the league phase, will they prioritise their main first choice players for their upcoming league games and play essentially like a B team against like your Leos and teams like that, and prioritise the first team players for like the knockout phases, and play just the normal team in the I'm not saying they're going to completely switch the whole team around, but I feel like maybe potentially some of them league phase games in the first bit, you know, before the knockouts, they might potentially they might potentially field a slightly weaker team on the basis of like what Amar said. There is a lot more games than what there is usually.
Okay, great. I feel like you gave us an answer without really giving an answer. Do you feel it's good or bad?
I'm gonna sway towards good for now until we see otherwise.
Okay, cool. You've been that is a trained answer. You know, it's good and bad now.
Yeah, you gave your opinion, mate.
Yeah, I'm about to.
All right.
Do you want to get out my throat? Right. So, do I think it's a good thing? Yeah, I do. I do from the standpoint of a Rangers fan. I feel like we have a higher chance of qualifying. Like I say, 75% of the teams are going to qualify. Bit embarrassing if we don't now, but I feel like there's a good chance we're going to qualify. I feel it will result in us getting more money, which evidently we really need. So I think overall it's a better thing. I think it will benefit the bigger teams that can rotate. Like your Bayer Leverkusen, can they really afford to rotate in these kind of things? Probably not.
Yeah.
But can your Man Cities? Of course they can. Mm-hmm. Man City could put on their B team and still be better than 60% of the teams in the Champions League. So like they can afford it.
Like even I think there'll be occasions where like they're like 2-0 up. Let's say if Haaland started the game, and then they'll just start pulling all their big players.
5 subs coming on,
as
if it's a training match. But you would see that. But I think that's the point, and that will probably have a knock-on effect where your smaller teams are fielding their first team in the league, in the Champions League, in every cup game. So it's going to make it more likely that your upsets don't happen. Because really what happens with your smaller teams is they've got the league that's going pretty well and they've got one cup that they're overperforming in. So they really only have to focus on those things. Do you know what I mean? Like if you look at Coventry last season when they played you in the semi-final, they didn't have anything else going on. Like the league was going okay. Well, actually, it wasn't going that great. But
I think they were 8th or something.
Yeah,
I don't think they were pushing playoffs.
What I mean is it was gone.
Yeah.
Right? They weren't going to win it. So all they had was the FA Cup. So that was their priority. Do you know what I mean? But let's say that they're obviously not in the Champions League or in Europe or anywhere near that. But let's say they were. And they then have to follow the money. It's like you can't really prioritise a cup like that. You can't really prioritise all these different things. Coventry was a really bad example. Probably never going to live that down now. But
yeah, I was like, where are you going?
That's the point. Like they now have to make a decision. Like, do they want the money of the Champions League, knowing it's not going to get them anywhere, or do they give up the possibility of silverware to follow the money? Because the money's in Champions League.
Has it been confirmed as to whether the amount of money will be the same based on if they get to like each round of the Champions League? If that makes sense.
I don't know if the overall prize money has gone up. I don't know. I'm just assuming that based on the fact that they'll have to pay more prize money for the increase in games, because you get prize money for losing. Do you know what I mean? You get prize money for drawing, you get prize money for winning. So if you're playing more games, you'll have to get more prize money. But also your TV broadcasters are going to have to pay more. There's more games to show.
Another thing as well relating to like the amount of games that we're seeing an increase with. Obviously, we just had last weekend was the Nations League, which is another. You know what? I don't even know what it is.
Colossal waste of time.
If somebody was to say to me, "What is the Nations League?" I actually don't even think I could. Actually
I don't think
answer.
UEFA can explain to you what the Nations League is. Spain just seems to keep being in the final of it. I don't even think they know how they got there. Do you know what I mean? Like every time the Nations League's on, Spain's in the final. It just started. Do you know what I mean? Spain have won it. Like, what?
Like, I think there's another international break coming again. Nations League in like 3-4 weeks again.
I mean, who the fuck knows?
The season's
Honestly,
only
I
started.
swear UEFA are making this up. Like, it's a league, it's a cup,
yeah.
but you've won it, but you haven't won it. We qualified for it, but went out. Like, how is that happening? I do not get what's going on, and it is a complete mess.
I actually understand why players are like, what is this? Like, why are we playing this silly ass league?
Honestly.
Who actually is excited, you know, for the international break, even if it's a game like Portugal, France for the Nations League? I don't think I've ever looked at the Nations League and said, 8 o'clock, I'll be tuning in on that. I do not care.
International football is so fried. Was it Ireland or something like that had to lose a game to qualify? Because if they won the game, they were out.
What?
I can't remember I can't remember what it was.
I remember hearing it.
But that's just international football is a mess.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's such a mess. And like even the rules for what countries players can play for is a mess.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You're going to put a Declan Rice.
The Declan Rice thing.
Jack Grealish.
I was like, obviously there's been loads of people having opinions stuff. I was watching the England Republic of Ireland game. Well, I wasn't watching. I was in a pub and it was on it. So and they had like the snakes return, a picture of like Declan Rice and Jack Grealish. But like, firstly, do we think the rules should be like that? Do we think that they should?
I think it needs
What
to
is
be.
the rules? It's like there's only a certain amount of games you can play and you can't change after like
X amount.
Can you change? Is there rules like once you've represented a country at a senior level?
I
can
thought
you
it's
then
once
change?
you've made one appearance at a senior level, you couldn't change. But obviously they did make appearances. But maybe if you're under a certain age.
There's so many stipulations, like if you've done this but not done this but maybe done, like there's so many different things that
if your granddad 4 times removed, I don't know how your granddad would be 4 times removed, but that
I feel like
do you think they were snakes for it? Do you think they made a wise decision? What do we think on that particular issue, since it seems so hotly debated right now?
I reckon that snakes is a
it's a bitter word.
Are you
to
saying
use.
that because they play well for England?
exactly.
If they were shite for England, you'd ship them back.
But I'm saying it's like they've obviously just used the Republic of Ireland as a stepping ladder to something better, because they were like, right, we'll play for Ireland. They're not good at. Well, when Jack Grealish and Declan Rice decided to play for Ireland, it's not like they were getting the call up for England as well. So they thought, you know what, I'm not getting a call up for England. We'll play for the Republic of Ireland, build up my career, and then once something comes for something better comes along, like England, which is clearly a better nation.
A better nation.
No, I mean like a footballing nation.
We're about to end up in a political war.
I mean like a better,
off.
a better,
The Irish are coming.
a better footballing nation. Which can like, that's wild, isn't it? Ireland, I love you. All right.
The thing is, you can't just pick and choose your nationality. You either decide.
That is the question. Because obviously you were mentioning that something better has came along. The national team is better, not the nation.
The footballing side of the nation.
Do you feel should they be able to do that, or if they've went for allegiance for? Are you still not finished?
You didn't let me finish.
Too busy causing political outrage, right?
But what I was saying is, they are snaking in the sense that they've sort of just used Republic of Ireland as a stepping stone.
Got to go Team Republic of Ireland now after that comment. He's going to try to win them back.
But anyone else in that situation, most people in that situation might do the same thing. So
I just think they need to be a little bit more clearer. Like it almost seems like if your dad's dad was like Irish or had the slightest little bit in him, it's like, yeah, I can play for Ireland. But then
Yeah,
also
my uncle
it's like,
drank a Guinness one time, man. I can play for Ireland.
So what do you reckon the rule should be in terms of like the nationalities you're allowed to represent?
I think the rules should be simple, based on two things.
Yeah.
One, if you were born there, you can represent that country at any time. Two, if you played in another country, having not represented anyone for a prolonged period of time, you can also represent that country. So if you went to Spain and you've played for 5 consecutive years in Spain, having never played for England, and Spain could then offer you the call up. Those are the only two options.
But then I'd ask you with that, regardless even if you're a national there or not, what if you haven't got the nationality, the passport?
Fight is because the football hasn't really got anything to do with your passport.
But it's got to do with your nationality.
But it's not though, because Declan Rice wasn't Irish.
he was born here.
He was born here. Like nothing about him is Irish,
But I think it's something to do
other
with his
than like
granddad.
I think his granddad was Irish.
Do you know what I mean? It's
So
unclear,
like
innit?
he has.
Are you sure
he
he
does
doesn't have
not
an Irish
have.
passport?
I'm fairly certain. I've not. I'm going to be honest. I've not went in and checked his passports.
Yeah.
I haven't been to his house, and I haven't personally spoke to him to ask him to present his passports to me. But I would assume, and I'm making that broad assumption, that he does not have an EU passport for the Republic of Ireland. And if he does, I'm happy to be corrected. But I'm going to assume he doesn't.
If he does, are you going to call him a snake?
No. I don't think so. My view on it is the same as like clubs. Do you know what I mean? Like as a footballer, you want to play for the best club possible. Do you know what I mean? I'm a Rangers fan. If I could play for Rangers, great, I'd enjoy that.
Wait,
But
no,
Rangers
you said
aren't going to
the-
pay me
But you said the best clubs, so why would you play for Rangers?
because they're the most successful team in the world. I don't think we are actually anymore, but anyway.
Just bite a little bit more, right? Bite enough.
I like
Can-
this new Craig. Like,
Yeah.
Last season, it's like, yeah, we're going to win 4 trophies. We're going to win this.
Yeah,
we're going to
he's got
score this
home
many
real
goals.
quick after that Celtic loss.
No, it's not the Celtic loss. It's just I've been in this rebuild before. We were here when Steven Gerrard arrived. I knew it was going to be a long process. I went with it. It was fine. This is the exact same energy. I know this is going to be 2-3 years before I start to see sunlight again.
Hey, 2-3 years.
Right.
We've been going for a long time, right?
Yeah.
Since Ferguson went.
But the good news is I know it'll only take us 2-3 years. Big
Will it?
Phil, 2-3 years, couple transfer windows. I think we'll get back to where we were. I think we'll get back to where Steven Gerrard had us. I think we'll rebuild it again. I think we've got a good manager who knows what he's doing. The performance today against Dundee United, I'm going on a tangent. You know what? We'll talk about Rangers in a minute. Let me finish this point. I'm always up for talking about Rangers. But yeah, like you want to play for the best club. So like in that instance, if I was playing for Rangers, while I supported them, boyhood club, stuff like that, they're not going to offer me 300k a week. Do you know what I mean? And obviously, I guess football, money motivation isn't the same in terms of internationals. But if Man City came in for me and were like, yeah, we want you to play, we're going to offer you 300 bags a week, and I know I could go get a Champions League, I'm going to go. Do you know what I mean? Of course I'm going to go. That's the point. So to sit here and say, no, he should play for Ireland, when England came in, like England would have been his first choice if England was available.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't, so he went to Ireland. So to even offer himself on that, to be like, yeah, well, England don't want me, so yeah, I would play for you.
Mm-hmm.
He did Ireland a favour, not in reverse. And then a better team where he could win things, which any footballer of ambition should want to do.
Yeah, that's my point. It's like,
He's then chosen to do that. So I don't think that is a snake. I don't think it's an insult. I think that he's obviously respected Ireland enough to be like, yeah, I would actually like to play for you. But then when what he's actually wanted, England has become available, he's chosen to do it. So fine.
so do you reckon in terms of like the rule book, it should be allowed to change nations?
I know it kind of goes against the 2 rules I just came up
Yeah,
with.
I was like, well, where do you stand now? Yeah, like, I understand why he did it, but he shouldn't be allowed to do
No,
it.
I understand why he did it,
Yeah.
but he shouldn't be allowed to do it.
So let's take, like, for instance, for me as an example, if I was a football player,
Yeah.
I wasn't born in England,
Uh-huh.
born in Burundi,
Yeah.
lived there till 6. And now, I've lived in England my whole life since 6.
You would
Shoot.
have the choice. You could play for England or Burundi.
In your rule book, I could.
Yeah, you could play for either one because you'd been in England long enough to be able to play for England.
But I lived in Cardiff for 5 years. Can I play for Wales?
No, not
No,
anymore.
I'm joking. I haven't lived in Cardiff.
Oh,
man.
yeah, I know,
Sorry, I don't know why.
but at that stage, you could have played for Wales.
Yeah.
But because you've now lived in England for 5 years, having never represented Burundi or Wales, you could play for England.
But let's say, for instance, I start playing for England, but then I start feeling a bit sentimental. Like I want to move to, I want to play for Burundi now. Should I be able to do that?
No, you're too late. You've made your choice. You've represented a nation, so you can't now represent another nation.
No matter what level I've represented that nation. Let's say if I've only represented.
So if you've represented them at the under 21s,
yeah.
that's not the first team. So it would have to be the first team.
Okay.
So if you've made one international performance, so if you played for Burundi one time in AFCON or something, you
Done.
couldn't play for England. That was it.
What? So has he played a first team game for Ireland, or he hasn't, Declan Rice?
Well, I think that the performance, I assume.
Because I've seen
I
him in
don't
the
know.
shirt. I've
Yeah.
seen him.
Yeah, it
I'm
has.
pretty
But
sure it has.
maybe the rule for them is you have to make a first team competitive appearance.
Not like
And
friendlies.
perhaps he played in friendlies.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm not an expert on what
Yeah.
Declan Rice
In
does.
your like sort of rules, would it matter?
I like that I've became the representative.
No,
of
but I
UEFA
just
and
want to get
FIFA.
your. I just want to understand your.
Based on your rules.
No,
Craig.
but I just want to understand your viewpoint.
Should
So-
FIFA be fined?
So, in your viewpoint,
Yeah.
if someone like makes a senior appearance, does it matter if whether it's a
No,
competitive game or a
competitive
friendly?
senior appearance.
So if I played for Burundi in like let's say a friendly,
fine.
I can come back to England.
Yeah.
But if it was AFCON or the World Cup, done.
Done.
Okay.
You've committed to that. You've competitively played for them with the intention to win something, and didn't. And you've done that. You've made that commitment. It's done.
Yeah.
That's you forever.
What if it's like a tournament qualifier? So it is competitive, but they're not. It's not actually a competition.
Well,
I told him
I would just go. I would just go off
game,
of.
I'd say.
We've really went down this rabbit hole, but I would just go. I don't know why I'm getting all these scenarios because my rules aren't coming in.
What
but-
if?
What if it was raining?
Yeah.
-2 degrees. And I decide I don't want to live there anymore. Well, I would just go off of the UEFA and FIFA's rules that the final round qualifier is classed as part of the competition. So if you played in the final round qualifier or in the Euros, I guess, where it's if you were in the qualifiers in general, that's a competitive
What's
match.
the final qualifiers? Is that
Well, the Champions League, I'm thinking of, there's a final qualifier round. But obviously in the World Cup and Euros, it's just qualifier matches,
okay?
isn't
got
it?
you.
So,
Yeah.
but you're in a group. So as long as you played a game in that group to qualify, then that would count.
What if we didn't qualify?
I don't
Oh.
give a
I'm
fuck.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
We've just been speaking about internationals and how we hate them and all these
Well,
like Nations League, and this
Speaking
guy's
of,
going on for ages.
Speaking of international leagues, did you see what they announced in Spain
What?
for wage caps?
Oh yeah, crazy Seville.
Someone got done dirty.
Alright, let's get the picture up
Let's get
again.
the picture up.
Go
It's a
on.
madness. Real Madrid being Real Madrid somehow have
That's just
managed
gone
to
up.
earn more. I know.
Yeah, that's just gone up.
They've got pretty much every key player in the world. Who could they possibly need to spend more on?
Okay.
Get that big early in.
Honestly, might as well. At
Do
this
you,
point.
do you want to explain to the people watching what the salary cap covers and like what the ins and outs are? So you said before that you was adamant, or you
I'm
seen
starting to feel like I became a representative for governing bodies here. Like, can you explain to us how this works?
you said you seen the definition of it covers, if I'm right in saying so, the yearly salary for players
Yeah.
and staff.
So
for all
it's
of
the
these
cap
clubs.
for what teams can spend on wages, basically, and it covers the coaching staff. It covers the academy. It covers basically any employee that club has. It with like your ticket office people.
In terms of figures here, this one seems to be the one that's the most interesting. So Barcelona went from last season 270 million was what they
Doubled,
had as a
isn't it?
cap. They've now gone to 426 on the basis that they're finding it hard to even register players, but their salary cap has gone up by
It's
what?
doubled. Yeah, but that's why they were struggling to register
Because
players
they're spending
because
so
of the
much money
salary
on
cap.
wages.
Which is a
Um,
madness to think that they don't have any money,
And then
but
this
now
season
they
they've
can
got
spend
more.
400 million. That's what bankrupt looks like in Spain. 400 M's.
But there's one that's
Bankrupt.
There's one certain team that's known for winning a lot of European trophies that have been they've been battered with their wage cap. So from last season, Sevilla, they had 169 mil they was capped at for wages for players and staff. For
Crazy.
this season, moving forwards, 2.5 million.
At this
the whole
point,
year.
we could buy Seville.
My question is, right, if it's for this season, how the flip have they retained any players?
No, that's
Oh,
now.
that's-
Now
No.
for next season, and it will get reviewed in February. So that they may change that.
Yeah.
But if they don't, Sevilla are fucked.
2.5.
Sevilla need a bad boy Europa League. They need some and a Super Cup to save their
Honestly,
breaches,
they're going to be
man.
injecting something in their veins for the Europa League.
Either that or some big ownership. They need someone to come in and just buy the hell out of them.
Well, that doesn't. So, well, yeah, I suppose it would impact it, but like Spain put these caps in to stop teams going bankrupt. So obviously something is happening catastrophic at Sevilla. Maybe the whole city's going under. I don't know, but it is a mess. They are in a bit of a shit situation.
How are they going to survive on that for a year?
You can.
They've got rid of quite a few key players, but like they must.
No, but not even that.
2.5 M's.
United's weekly wage bill is more than that.
Oh mate, it'd be a lot more than that.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And they have to then survive relegation from that.
I don't think they could even in the La Liga 2. I don't think they could survive on that.
But you have to their finances must be for the Spanish FA to turn around and be like, you can afford this.
That's crazy.
That is a madness.
Yeah.
Although they do get a lot of criticism for that because they say it makes it uncompetitive compared to other leagues and other teams. And it kind of does emphasize non-competitive because Real Madrid can go out and spend 800 million.
Mm-hmm.
The next closest to them is Barcelona on 400.
Yeah, it's mad.
So even if Barcelona had the money, they're not allowed to go spend it, but Real Madrid can.
Hey, but this season, Real Madrid ain't really cooking as you thought they'll be cooking. It's Barcy's on top.
I have a little bit of something to go off on a bit of a tangent, but in terms of the shirt that Craig's wearing, so in terms of the manager that used to manage Celtic, so the opposition to Rangers, in terms of his Tottenham career, I'm just having to think about the process and
I was wondering where you were going with this.
No, I'm just thinking relating to the process of Spurs and where they're going in terms of moving forwards, because I feel like Ten Hag, as much as people say that he should be backed and this and that, I feel like if that was Ten Hag, he'd be getting a lot more shit than what he currently is getting. I feel like he doesn't get anything. I feel like they can be so bad and not get any
Do you mean Ange doesn't get anything?
Yeah, Ange doesn't get anything. I feel like, well, even if he does, I feel like it's nowhere near what we get. If when we got beat off Liverpool 3-0, he got absolutely battered, and I feel like Ange, I don't know. I feel like he needs to be called out a little bit more. The statements he comes out with, oh, I'm going to win a trophy this year and all this kind of stuff. I don't know.
I think that comes down to a backward mentality from Tottenham fans. I'm probably going to get a lot of shit for this, but when you think of Tottenham fans, even last season, they were sitting talking about losing to Man City, so Arsenal lost the league. Do you know what I mean? And only their manager was like, we're not going to do that. We need top four.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And they ended up not getting top four, which is backwards. It's you were willing to take a step back in your progress just to see Arsenal fail.
Which would be a huge financial gain.
Arsenal, it wasn't even guaranteed Arsenal would go on to win the league anyway if they did lose that game. But the thing is the huge financial gain, like you said, and all these different aspects to it. I think Tottenham have taken so much enjoyment from Arsenal's failure because they've not had their own success.
Mm-hmm.
So to have a manager who then plays maybe attractive football occasionally or occasionally gets a result they want, that's good enough for Tottenham because it's just went so long with it being okay not to win things. And that is the completely wrong mentality to have, completely wrong place to be. And I suppose the good thing for Man U fans and I'd say Arsenal fans to an extent, but not really, is even though your manager's winning something, it's still not good enough. Do you know what I mean? Winning an FA Cup, fine, but that's not what you want. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? You don't want to be sitting arguing for sixth place, but you get the odd cup here and there. That's not the point. With Tottenham,
they'd take that.
But they wouldn't, at this point, if it meant spiting Arsenal, they wouldn't take a cup. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? If you asked them, win the FA Cup, win the first piece of silverware you've had in decades, but Arsenal won the league, they'd be like, nah.
I'm not. Well, I think I agree and disagree because I think all this sort of it's kind of blown up on TikTok because I think the people go on TikTok or social media when they're being asked these questions. It's a particular type of fan. So I do agree there is fans out there, but
But
think
is
on a
it
whole,
because
the majority.
Ange isn't getting called out? Ange isn't getting called out for the fact that
Yes, I was
Tottenham massively underperformed last season.
So I reckon it's about. I think there's 3 reasons to this. Actually, in terms of like compared to like let's say Eric Ten Hag, who's been massively called out. I think number one, Tottenham are a team that are obviously not as big as United, so they kind of fly under the radar because even though they didn't massively underperform, getting top 4 for Tottenham was their probably goal, and they just missed out on it. 2, I think one of the things that really helps Ange is the fact that he's very charismatic. Like he comes across well, even when they lose. Like he knows what to say in front of the cameras. Whereas Eric Ten Hag, when we lose against a team, we could be getting battered. He's like, yeah, we played very well, but it wasn't our day. Things didn't go well for us here and there. And if we had took our chances, it would have been 3 or 4 up. And it's like, well, we didn't take our chances and we lost the game 3-0. Okay. And then thirdly, I think one of the other things is the fact that Tottenham have been sold this narrative with Ange that it's a process, similar with what Arsenal got sold with Arteta. It's like, he comes in, first season, doesn't do that great. That it's what's happened in his career. And then second season, he kicks on. He's brought the players that he wants to play on. He's had time to implement his sort of playing style with the team. So they're probably looking at this season like, okay, now it's our time to start getting silverware.
5 games in, does that look like kicking on?
Well, 5 games is very early on. And he said silverware. He didn't say he's going to win the Premier League. And they haven't been...
the Community Shield's out of it, so which one is he going for?
Community Shield. You're funny. Well, he's still got the Europa League.
I thought you were winning that.
Still got the FA Cup. Yeah.
Oh, so you can't win that then?
What do you mean?
If you're winning it, he can't.
I'm not giving my opinion on who I think is going to win if I think Tottenham are going to win it.
Do you think he'll deliver that trophy that he's promising?
No, but that's beside the point of like what Tottenham fans would think. What I'm saying is not my view. I'm just saying what
you're saying is not your view.
What you're saying is not your view.
No, it's my view. But when I'm saying,
I'm getting this directly from the Tottenham fans.
No, but I just didn't understand what tangent was going. Because it's like, I thought you were winning that, so Tottenham can't win that. I'm like, that's my view on that.
I was making a joke that you said you're going to win it, and you're not going to win it.
We're going to win it. But
so
yeah,
Tottenham can't. So you might as well write that one off for Ange, because you guys are confident you'll win it.
Yeah. Well, we're winning that. But yeah, I feel like Tottenham are now thinking, this man has a track record of winning something every second season, so we'll win something this season. He can win the FA Cup as well.
Do you think? What do you think on this? Do you think it is progress? Do you think it is a journey, or what?
I think they are. I think they're on a journey, but I don't see them winning a trophy anytime soon. I think it's going to take a lot longer for them to even show signs of challenging for like FA Cups and top 4 on a consistent basis. And I don't know. I feel like he definitely doesn't get called out as much as what Ten Hag does. But then even like what's supposed to be their biggest game of the season at home. And, they obviously got beat 1-0. As soon as they conceded, they couldn't even like have the... What do you say? How do you say it? Like they couldn't have any charisma or any courage to try and fight and actually get something out of the game. They just essentially, they took the goal that they conceded, and that was pretty much it.
So why do you think he's not getting as much attention?
I think it probably is like what Amar said about the fact that obviously no matter how good, bad, mediocre United will do, they'll always sell back pages in the newspapers. They'll always be the most talked about team in England, even when we don't win trophies. Like
Chelsea managers get a lot of heat. Arne Slot's getting loads of attention right now.
Is he?
Yeah.
I don't think
100%.
he is, mate.
People are saying, is he going to be a disaster? Is he going to be a success?
But is that
lots of people have been talking about that?
But is that not just because Jurgen Klopp was like there for so long, and this is like supposedly the next person?
This is my point.
I haven't seen much.
You're United, so lots of focus there. Liverpool, Arne Slot gets it because Jurgen Klopp was there. Chelsea's getting lots of focus because loads of players. Tottenham just don't have anything about them, so therefore they don't get any attention.
No, obviously that's not the case. But like,
so then how is Ange avoiding attention here?
I think wait, this is gone. But I honestly think it's because he's quite charismatic. I think that says him a lot. Like he knows how to speak to the camera. He doesn't shy away from calling his team shit if they've played shit.
I don't necessarily agree. I feel like when results don't go his way, you don't see the charisma. You don't see any of that. What you see is him being short with reporters. You see him being
direct,
much more direct. You don't see that jokey, it's all good kind of atmosphere, which I wouldn't expect when things are going shit. But they haven't been going great. So you've been seeing quite a lot of that. So I don't necessarily agree that he's charismatic when things are going well. Do you know what I mean? He's sitting with pundits talking about...
I think most managers would be the one.
No doubt I'll be hearing this a better Rangers fan talking. Maybe I'm a little better. But you hear him making jokes about how I just watch what Pep does and copies it. That joke ended quite quickly when the results turned around. Do you know what I mean? When he stopped winning games. That banter all disappeared. And it became very... very don't pass it back, what the fuck you doing, talking to pundits a lot more directly, talking about people being disrespectful, things like that. Like that charisma disappeared very quickly. So I don't necessarily know if that's the case.
I'm just starting to wonder whether it's because the expectations are a lot less at a team like Tottenham, and that's no offence, that's just based on what they've won over the last few decades. Maybe that probably could be the reason why he doesn't get as much shit as Ten Hag, or he doesn't get as much shit in it as any of the other managers. But I'm starting to wonder whether he's going to get the right amount of time to actually, fulfill this potential vision that he may have had in his own head, obviously compared to what he did at Celtic. I mean, I don't know how long it took him to see success at Celtic. I don't know how long he was there. I don't know too much about the SPFL to actually answer that question, but I'm just starting to wonder whether it would be similar in terms of the amount of time he would need to do something at Tottenham. Obviously, he's not going to win as much as he did at Celtic, but...
Okay. Well,
I mean, it's a mammoth jump going from the Scottish Premier League to the English Premier League. I think he's kind of looked at it and thought, like, in his career, especially today when he said, you can't even say it's
massive jump.
Oh, it's bounds and leaps, universes,
Chelsea had to
galaxies.
Chelsea had to play your billion pound team had to play a qualifier for the Conference League. Calm yourself.
Do you remember that time when he said if you put Celtic and Rangers in the Premier League in 5 years' time, he said that they'd be able to contend for the European spots?
Yeah,
they would.
In 5 years.
Anyway, that's going back on the tangent.
You're talking access to hundreds of millions of pounds. You don't think the Old Firm would do something with that? With the infrastructure, the fan base. Yeah, the fact that it's one of the biggest derbies in the world. Yeah, but you don't think they couldn't do something with the access to English football money?
Yeah, but having the access having the access isn't a guarantee of success.
You've just actually made the point with Chelsea having to play a Conference League.
What?
How much money they've spent hasn't got them into the best position on the basis that you just said.
That's from a mismanagement of Chelsea.
Listen, you know what the first step would actually have to be.
I think Chelsea would win.
Let's say you came into the Premier League, right? Your first step would be like, before you even got access to that money, because it'd be your first term, is trying to even stay up with the players that you've got. You wouldn't even be able to stay up with the current players that you've got, right?
But that's firstly going into the Premier League.
Let's say we just dropped you in this season.
But we would have access, you get money you get access to TV money for being in the league. So straight away, what we can spend, the players we'll attract, has all of a sudden changed all of it. It's changed the complete outlook. English and Scottish football are not in the same realm, and I think you need to understand that. The prize money for the Scottish Premier League is what, 3.5 million? Mm-hmm. The prize money, actually, finishing last in the English Premier League is what, 50 mil?
If not more.
Yeah,
if not more. 3 million, 50 million. I think you need to hear that.
It's got to be one of the only leagues where you're rewarded for failure.
But even in the Scottish Premier League, you'll get some sort of payout even if you finish last.
Some sort is a massive difference to what you get in the Premier League.
Yeah, but the thing is, you got it's all but it's actually relative. So it's like a team getting paid let's say 50 million in the Premier League is not going to help them if Man City and Arsenal and Chelsea and United are spending, they have to compete with teams. That 50 mil actually becomes pocket change compared to when you're seeing what United and Arsenal are going to be spending.
No, but that 50 mil is to help them to go back down to the Championship and to come back up. That's the money they get.
But the evidence is that it doesn't always work.
My point is that 50 odd million would be if we finished last. I don't think we would. I think the infrastructure, the fan base, the ability to attract players, Rangers and Celtic.
Ability to attract players. Who do you attract? Who's a big player you attract? Go on, tell me.
Are you being serious?
I'm being 100% serious.
Delusion.
No, tell me. Who do you attract?
In recent times, we've not attracted that many big names.
Your last big name was Jermaine Defoe.
That is nonsense.
Who was it then? You have to let me know.
Last big name that's played for either Celtic or Rangers.
Yes.
Last big name ever was Jermaine Defoe.
I meant for your team. Maybe.
Yeah, I know, because you don't want me to include Celtic. Look,
Okay, Celtic.
I'm not talking, like, we have been mismanaged. I'm not saying that,
Yeah.
right? But to sit here and say that Rangers and Celtic aren't attractive football teams is nonsense. But then also,
So like
on top
these
of
like
that,
Mickey Mouse
to
players.
take these clubs that are huge all around the world, as much as it pains me to say it, Celtic are also huge all around the world. Although I would say
That's
1% less than
questionable.
us. But anyway, so to put them in the English Premier League with access to English Premier League money, it would be completely different. I think you would learn and be humbled very, very quickly.
Do you know who had the same point as you? I just want to say this. Simon Jordan from TalkSport.
Yeah, I know, but I'm not high.
But that's also on the basis that you get it right as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I said 5 years.
Because you
Won't be perfect.
because you get teams, right, like let's say from the Championship who win the playoffs gets 100 mil.
We've got
And
2
then still
minutes
go
left.
down.
So I'm going to ask you all, based on this weekend's performances, do either of you want to change your top 4 predictions?
I'm gonna say based on the fact that Southampton just came up, it's not really that much of a challenge. So I'm gonna say for now,
Top
I
four,
think
mate.
I think we'll just miss out.
You think you'll just miss out? Are you changing any of yours? You got 2 minutes. Are you changing any of yours? Yes or no?
Yeah, we're going above Liverpool for finishing
Above
third.
You're going
Liverpool.
third.
No, I'm joking. Not above Liverpool. I'm keep getting confused. We're going third.
Above
We're going straight third.
Man U. Liverpool won the title, but Man U are doing better.
No, we're going above Arsenal. No, I'm
Above
joking.
what?
No, I'm joking.
what is
Sorry,
going
no,
on?
I'm
Are
playing.
you changing your top 4?
I'm not. I'm
on top of the
changing.
time of the fact you changed it?
What do you mean? I've never changed it.
Well, you didn't have Liverpool.
Oh
in it.
yeah, I changed it once.
Anyway,
Right.
okay. Well,
about you?
let us. I'm not going to change mine. Let us know what you think. Has the results changed your top 4? Do you agree with what we said? Do you think there should be different rules for internationals? Let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe as always, and we'll catch you soon.
Thank you.
See you later.
Bye bye.